Florida is determined to be the model state for immigration enforcement. Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Andre McKinney Dorval. I am a licensed immigration attorney and I am located in the state of Florida. Guys, this one is a heads up. Florida is announcing it has more than 100 Florida Highway Patrol troopers who have been deputized as special U.S. Marshals, special deputy U.S. Marshals. Now, guys, this is huge. Florida, through its governor, Governor DeSantis, has made it clear he wants the state of Florida to be the model state for immigration enforcement. And he's been doing, in the legislature as well, been doing several things and taking on several measures. But in this latest one, what Florida highway troopers can now do is they can now enforce immigration cases. They no longer have to wait for ICE agents or other federal backup. Now, prior, if a Florida Highway Patrol trooper encountered someone who didn't have status or was undocumented and also had a criminal record, they would have to previously wait for ICE or some other federal backup to arrive, or alternatively, ultimately let the driver go. But now that is no longer the case. It is being reported from the governor himself that Florida Highway Patrol officers can now handle immigration cases on the spot, from arrest to processing for deportation with no federal backup. Now, guys, previously, a few videos back, we talked about the 287G and what that meant as far as patrol officers and other law enforcement officers being deputized to act as mini ICE agents. And there are concerns. We're going to talk about some of those concerns in this video as well. But for now, what Governor DeSantis is quoted as saying is that what we have now with FHP is that they are able to conduct immigration operations wholly independent of the federal government. No other state is doing this, DeSantis said, and from all accounts, he is correct. There are no other states at this time doing this. The governor is quoted as going on to say that these troopers can now do everything an immigration officer would do up until the point where the individual is processed for removal. This is huge, guys. This is so, so huge. And so what this ultimately means is that we have in Florida ICE agents and we have Florida Highway Patrol troopers acting or deputized with the same authority as ICE officers. Now, as I stated earlier this year, the state of Florida passed its law, and part of that law provided for all of the 67 counties in Florida, along with other police agencies, to sign and enter into 287G agreements, which empowers state law enforcement to assist ICE in enforcing U.S. immigration laws. This is extremely huge. This is definitely going to serve as potentially a model that other states like Texas could easily follow. Now, it should be noted that as of right now, it is showing that Florida, according to what the governor has stated, Florida has more than half of the country's 287G agreements. We have 50 states, but in the state of Florida, the 287G agreements with ICE to help them enforce their agreements, Florida has more than half of those agreements. This is huge. Now, I also want to bring to your attention, we also published a short video that talked about Florida is asking the U.S. Appeals Court to allow it to be able to enforce the law that they passed back in February, where someone who illegally enters the U.S. and then enters the state of Florida, that is a crime. Florida is asking the U.S. Appeals Court to lift the stay and allow them to enforce that while the litigation is going. Now, let's talk about some of the concerns that having Florida Highway Patrol troopers deputized as U.S. Special Marshals. Now, first off, out of the gate, that is going to pose huge concerns for due process. That's part of this huge fight that's going on now between the government and many of the immigration advocacy agencies that have sued the government over a lack of due process. So that's going to be a huge concern. Another concern, which we talked about in a prior video, is that Florida Highway Patrol troopers are criminally trained. And suffice it to say, it is quite possible and common, and we know it's happening, that they are also encountering drivers who don't have a criminal record or history and are otherwise going through the same interrogation format as a criminal defendant or criminal suspect would. Those are differences. Another concern is that it raises an issue with regards to potential racial profiling. And likewise, it goes without saying, community trust is definitely going to go out of the window and fear is going to replace it. And so we can expect, much like Florida's law passed in February, SB 4C, that as arrest, detention, and preparation for deportation, excluding the removal portion, as that wraps up and gets underway, we can expect lawsuits yet again over this new deputization of Florida Highway Patrol troopers. Guys, this is huge, and it cannot be overstated. The number one way that anyone, regardless of your status, can come into contact with law enforcement is driving. Real ID is in effect. If you do not have a Real ID driver's license, do not drive. If you need or have questions with regards to what is required, we published a video that has a resource that shares whatever state you're located in, you can determine what documents you need to provide in order to obtain a Real ID driver's license. And of course, if you are someone that has an immigration matter concerning your status, work with an attorney, guys. Things are getting super, super, super hot in Florida. I do want to thank you all for all of your support. Please be sure to like and share the video, guys. I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye-bye.